I started out my career in Tokyo, which is where I grew up. And from Tokyo, I then actually went to study visual communications in Aberdeen. And there I actually started to dive into what was typically known as graphic design. But this was in the era when the internet just came onto the scene. I don't know if you remember the days when websites were just like Yahoo search engine pages, gray with blue hyperlinks, but it was those days. And I took it upon myself to actually learn HTML from a book. It was called Learn HTML in a Week, because I knew the web was going to explode at that time. And from there, I moved to New York. And that was the start of what they call the dot-com boom. And I started out as a HTML coder, working for IBM. And the experience at IBM was fantastic. It was a multifunctional team of developers, designers, project managers, really discovering what web design was about. And in a sense, because of the timing, I was part of that first generation of web designers who started to set the standards of what so-called digital design is today. So after IBM, I consulted for Sony Music. I was part of their interactive design lab. And at that time, it was more the technologies used in interactive CD-ROMs. But from moving on from there, I designed several kind of frameworks and information architectures for Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. So leveraging all that expertise, I then moved to the UK, moving into a senior interaction designer role and information architecture role. And my clients there range from the Department of Health and the NHS. There I designed a nationwide e-learning system. It was the biggest e-learning system in the world. It was really about creating UX standards and development practices to bring governance to a set of offshore teams in several different continents. So then my focus became more and more about how do you roll out large UX programs for organizations that haven't really had that in place. And I think today that area is called UX institutionalization. So that's an area I specialize in as well. UX institutionalization is really about, okay, so I have an organizational structure in place. Maybe my development team works this way, my project management team works this way, my BAs work this way, but maybe they need to start to learn agile practices. They need to be more customer-centric and run usability sessions. But being able to integrate design processes into such an organization requires a lot of facilitation, a lot of coaching, and also possibly change in job roles for many people. So one of my skills now as a consultant is going to organizations and advising them on what they can do to transform and maybe professionalize their UX capabilities. So I brought this to Toyota Europe, to Pfizer, to E-Trade, Thomson Reuters, and various other multinationals. One of my latest clients was Fidelity Investments, and it was great working for them because they had a very mature UX capability. Their UX team was 200 people. They had very defined processes and methodologies, and I learned a lot working from them. And some of the processes I'll be teaching are some of the kind of best practices from them as well. And their agency level methodologies too.